Old Soldiers Never Die by Tim Roll Pickering, published on the 29th of the 7th, 03. For years, fans had wished for the return of Unit. Battlefield finally brings it back, albeit radically updated. Gone is the organization that prevents the world's invasions over a cup of tea, aided by a scientific advisor who does all the real opposition while us government officials meddle things up and get in the way. Instead, we get an internationally comprised force of UN troops with women in frontline combat, but are properly equipped and armed to deal with menaces. Throughout the story, a key theme is how this is not Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart's unit anymore. There are still some signs of the old days, such as the uncertain near-future dating, but can give fans plenty to debate and argue for years to come. There's a king, a round of mostly soft drinks that costs a fiver, car phones are far more prevalent than mobiles, and so on. But overall, this is a step forward for the series. The opening scene is thus highly appropriate for the way in which it establishes that Lethbridge Stewart is now retired and those days are long gone. This is reinforced throughout the story by his uncertainty about how to deal with Bambara. An untransmitted scene included in the video release helps spell it out when Lethbridge Stewart admits that he doesn't really know how to handle women, as well as a general sense throughout the story that this is his last mission. Killing off the character would have been a bold step forward for the series, showing that it was not just resurrecting the old mythology but actually developing it, but wisely this step is not taken given Lethbridge Stewart's solid position in the series. Nicholas Courtney resurrects the character superbly, playing the role like an old man suddenly given the chance to go back to his old ways, and it works. Battlefield is also notable for taking the series into the realm of sword and sorcery some 26 years after the question was first asked amongst the series' originators, was Merlin Doctor Who? The series has never shied from shamelessly lifting elements from other stories and legends, so it is a good touch to see a story of Arthurian warriors alongside the resurrection of one of the series' own warriors. Morgane is superbly performed by Jean Marsh, bringing with her a full army of knights, albeit armed with stun guns. This provides for much action, but rarely does this detract from the story's plot. The concept of the Doctor encountering events that originate from actions in his future has now been done to death in the Virgin and BBC books, but back in 1989 this was a novel departure for the series, and provides a contrast to other McCoy stories where the Doctor knows far more about what is going on than he reveals. This story is also similar to the books for the way in which it shamelessly lifts old bits of continuity as obscure as Doris, previously only mentioned to embarrass the Brigadier in Planet of the Spiders, and using them to the full. Never once does this detract from the story though, and throughout it's clear just what Bessie means to the Doctor. The cast for the story is strong, with Christopher Bowen, Mordred and Marcus Gilbert Anselin providing a strong contrast between them, whilst Angela Bruce gives a fully competent performance as Bambara and proves a far superior replacement unit leader than earlier efforts such as the Android Invasion's Colonel Faraday. The production is also strong, with Michael Kerrigan directing some excellent action scenes that are enhanced by Kev McCulloch's score, as well as by touches such as the intercutting of the fight towards the end of Part 1, the scene of Ace telling Shao Ewing about how she blew up her school art room. Battlefield may be more straightforward than many of its contemporaries, but it still succeeds in providing a strong action adventure. It also shows the horror of war in moments such as Bambara's lifting up the faceplate of a dead knight and finding a teenager's face, or the Doctor's speech to Morgane in an effort to convince her not to fire the nuclear missile. The message is clear that the old values of the 1970s unit stories cannot go on, even though old soldiers never die.